you'll never believe some of the stuff that is sent to me, or stuff that I see, that I happen to see on other parts of the internet. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, Jeet Kune Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 259. This is the one about what people don't know about Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you are catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. If you enjoy my work and you'd like to support the program, please visit jkdrebel.com, click on the Rebel Gear link, and that's where you'll see stuff like this: the Unified Martial Art Academy official Kali JKD t-shirt, one of my favorite designs, based off an old Inasano Academy design, and also pays homage to the late Ted Lukai, who was one of the first to use the Kali JKD moniker. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. All right, so ordinarily on Fridays at 6 p.m. we do an episode of the Jeet Kune Dialogues, but my scheduled dialogue partner, Mahipalunya, he lives in California, and he lives in a part of California where they have had this terribly inclement weather, and so they got evacuated. So thoughts and prayers go out to him that he stays safe and what have you. So what I thought I would do is to kind of combine what I had intended to do on Wednesday, and my apologies for Wednesday, but I'm in the midst of this huge project, and so I just couldn't break away to do stuff on Wednesday. So I thought I would share with you and get you, as in those of you who are live here with me, to comment on the stuff that I present to you that is sometimes sent to me or that I happen to see on other parts of the internet. So what that will require, if you agree to play along, is that I will have to toggle back and forth between this screen over here and this screen over here, which is the comment section, right? And so again, not having my own Jamie Vernon, this is going to take some doing. But I think I have some fairly vocal people on here. Terry Valor is here, number one, of course, right? Russell Fuson from Indiana, Jerry Winterfell, Mark David Collins, cool. Russell, Josh Horn's here, Bo Jackson's here, right? And Bill Matucci. Okay, so and Bucky Barreto and Aubrey Grow. So okay, so every people on here are people who usually have stuff to say. So I'm just gonna detail to you, no, well, not even detail. I'll just announce to you some of the stuff that I've seen, but then I'll indicate to you which one I want your feedback on, right? So I swear to you, this is an actual question that exists in other parts of the internet, and it is, who is the master of Jeet Kune? Right now, I don't need you to comment on that one, but as I'm saying it, I'm wondering whether or not whoever it was that was asking it was referring, to the current day master of Jeet Kune, right? Or if they were referring to Bruce Lee. But that's one of them that's out there. Who is the master of Jeet Kune? Another one that I thought you guys would be interested in, and I want your feedback on this. This is an actual question. Why do people think that Jeet Kune is a martial art? So if you guys want to play along and go ahead and type in your comments on that one, right? Bill Matucci says he's the master of Jeet Kune. I agree, Bill Matucci, you are, right? But if you guys would be, if you want to play along, go ahead and answer that question. Why do people think that Jeet Kune Do is a martial art? So while you're doing that, while I give you time to type your answers into that, I'll tell you. I think this is one that I actually did answer, right? But now I don't remember exactly. Bruce Leroy is the master. All right, you know what? I thought that we were gonna have I thought we were going to have an intelligent back and forth this evening, but apparently it's going to be this other kind of conversation, right? So why do people think Jeet Kune Do is a martial art? I sometimes when I get stuff like that, like I wish I could find out the mindset of the person who is asking the question. You know, it's so like it's like okay, well, you know the whole thing about try to think the thought that the thinker had when he thought the thought, right? So it's like why do people think that Jeet Kune Do is a martial art as opposed to what? But then I discovered that there are people who actually believe, and I've heard this reported, there are people who think that Jeet Kune Do is a concept, that Jeet Kune Do is a philosophy, that Jeet Kune Do is not an actual um, martial art method that can be physically expressed. I became aware of that. I'm pretty sure it was um, Jesse James Kosakowski who was having a fight at Bellator or something, and it was overheard that the people in the camp of his opponent said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about this guy because he's a Jeet Kune Do guy, and Jeet Kune Do is just a concept." So I guess something like, so since Jeet Kune Do is just a concept, this kid won't know how to fight. I'm pretty sure that that's a real, a true story, right? Okay, so you guys are not helping because see, people think Jeet Kune Do is a martial art, Bo Jackson, because it is. Well, obviously, there are some people who don't, which is why the question was put out there. I'm just messing with you, Bo. Bucky Barreto says because of knowledge passed down from generation to generation. Yeah, well, of course, right? Okay. All right, so moving on. So here's another one, right? This one, okay, you know what? I do want y'all to comment on this one, right? It says, did Bruce Lee have a hard time finding opponents to fight? And well, the second part we've dealt with before, but I'll throw it out there, right? So the first part, did Bruce Lee have a hard time finding opponents to fight? And would he have been able to compete in the Ultimate Fighting Championship? So as I give you time, I'll tell you what my answer to this one was. My answer to this one was this, the second part. My answer to the second part, would he have been able to compete in the UFC? I was like, yeah, if the UFC had existed, right, in the late 1960s to the early 1970s. And yes, he would have been able, had it existed, one, if he had an interest in it, two, he would have been able to compete in it because he had the physical ability, right? So, okay, but what's your I hope this thing is staying live and that I can actually see what you guys are saying because it is. Hey, Alex Huisman's here, right? Okay. Um, so Aubrey says no and didn't exist. Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, Here's another interesting one. Was Bruce Lee the only one who could really put into practice at 100% the Jeet Kune Do combat concepts or philosophy? Right? Not even direct Bruce Lee student. I'm not paraphrasing. I'm reading it to you exactly how it was sent, right? So again, was Bruce Lee the only one who could really put into practice at 100% the Jeet Kune Do combat concepts or philosophy? Not even direct Bruce Lee students can apply the concepts of Jeet Kune Do in practice. Um, yeah, well, so Bill Matucci, are you answering yes to that one or yes to the one about if Bruce Lee would have been able to compete in the UFC, or if he had um, problems finding opponents. Which one? Which one are you answering? The first one or the second one, Bill? Be a little. This one. Okay. That Bruce Lee was the only person who could 100% translate Jeet Kune concepts and fighting philosophy. He was JKD. Hmm. Okay. So what were the other people then? When you guys say that Bruce Lee was the only one who could 100% translate JKD into action, what were the other guys? What do you mean? What were the other guys doing? Because I don't know if I agree with that. I think that okay, so they were followers. All right. But why? See, because the way I read this question is everybody is able to do 100% of what they're able to do. So the idea that Bruce Lee was Jeet Kune Do, so only Bruce Lee was Jeet Kune Do. But if I'm a direct student of Bruce Lee and I give it my all, am I not also 100%? So I'm not sure what you guys mean by he was the only one that could be 100% Jeet Kune Do. I got to find a better way to. So Aubrey says different degrees of understanding and ability to express. But again, I think that still doesn't address the fact that these guys are given 100%. See, that's the issue that I have with it. The idea that only Bruce Lee could be 100% Jeet Kune Do. I don't think that's true at all. I think that anybody else who was dedicated to Jeet Kune Do was dedicated to understanding and being able to express themselves with it. Now, if you're talking about were they at the same physical level of a Bruce Lee, I don't think there was anybody who could match him. Intellectual level of a Bruce Lee, I think there were people in Bruce Lee's camp who were very, very smart. So again, what's meant by being 100% Jeet Kune Do? So I don't know, man. All right. Anyhow, okay. So moving along, I think I might invite Aubrey and Bill back on. Y'all just gave me an idea. Okay. So Mark Black says you can give 100% in your training, whether you attain the level or not. Right. Yeah. I mean, if you're totally dedicated to it, you're operating at 100% of your own capacity. Now, because if I'm not the physical specimen that Bruce Lee was, then yeah, he'll be faster. His physicality will outshine mine, but I'm still 100% of where I'm at the time. So he was way ahead. Okay. So Michael Perez says since he created. Wait, hold on a second. You know what? This. Oh man, but that print is too small for me to read it. Since he created it, hang on a second. Let me see if I can do this. He was the only one to fully understand it. He was the only one to put it in motion at that time. Okay. At that time, that puts an interesting spin on it. Because in all honesty, when I watch video of people work, but no, you know what? I was gonna say when I watch video of people working with Bruce Lee, like in the backyard or what have you. Here's the thing. I don't see Bruce Lee as an incredible amount of leaps and bounds ahead of other people. Okay. And I think it's because we have the benefit of having lived past 1973 and seen level of expertise grow. So when I look at, so for example, there's the well-known backyard video of Luis Delgado. When I look at Luis Delgado kick, now call me sacrilegious, but I think to a certain degree, his kicking is as good as Bruce Lee's. Now, he probably would not have been able to, he might not have been able to put it on film in as spectacular a manner as Bruce Lee did, but I think Louis Delgado's kicks were pretty decent, right? So again, since he created it, he was the only one to fully understand it. He was the only one to put it in motion at that time. Um, okay, all right, I'll deal with that. Um, Aubrey says again, given 100%, but truly understand and express lesser. But truly understanding based on whom? See, if you're saying I give 100% of what I give 100% to what you are teaching me, but I don't understand it as well as you do. This one's really giving me some trouble because I think that everybody is is comparing, right, to Bruce Lee rather than giving people credit for being who they are and being fully committed to Jeet Kune. Huh. We might have to we might have to do a we might have to do, you know what? I think I'm gonna keep these, and next Friday Mahipal is supposed to come on, but maybe the Friday after we can revisit this stuff, but we'll do it um, as a Zoom call instead, and then I can because I think I can only have like up to three people on Be Live, but on Zoom, you know, we can put a ton of people on there. So I think maybe we'll do that. So today is so not on the 20th, on the 27th. So you guys are the first to hear about that. So I hope that you will clear your calendars and be able to come back to this. And then maybe we can get into this a little bit more deeply, right? Okay, so Bo Jackson says, saying Bruce was JKD is like saying Yoshiba was Aikido and Kano was Judo, and those systems died when they did. Makes no sense. Well, I think the phrase Bruce was Jeet Kune, um, when I read that, I have a different understanding. I don't understand. I don't read it as only Bruce Lee was Jeet Kune, right? But saying Bruce was Jeet Kune, yeah, I mean, fully so. But I don't read it as only he was Jeet Kune, and yeah, huh, okay. And those systems died when yeah, you know, this thing, Bo Jackson, that people have about, yeah, only Bruce was Jeet Kune, and so Jeet Kune died when he died. I mean, I remember I did a broadcast, an issue of the broadcast about that. That's I can't see eye to eye with that at all. That how can Jeet Kune be dead? How can you be, well, if it's dead, then what are we doing here today for the past 20 minutes, right? Russell Fuson says, meaning he created JKD and only knows JKD, as opposed to those who studied JKD and not mastered it. Well, I just read something where it was they were saying, I think it was Joe Lewis who said it, that that Bruce Lee would say that he was a student master, right? when it came to, the whole mastery of martial art and what have you. And then there's the thing about him. I'm paraphrasing. Call me a master after you put the last nail in the coffin, or something like that, right? So this, you know, I'm gonna say that I think that this whole thing about only Bruce Lee being Jeet Kune is fallout from something that Sifu Asano may have said in the definitive series when he says stuff like only Bruce Lee could do certain stuff, right? Um, that's I don't know how true that is. That only Bruce Lee could do certain stuff. I don't know that that is the exact 100% truth. It might be more accurately stated. There was certain stuff that only Bruce Lee could do at a particular level. But does that mean that nobody ever caught up to his level? That nobody ever that that when it came to everything that Bruce Lee put out there was nobody who could match him in any aspect. Because if that's so, right? If nobody could match Bruce Lee, didn't Daniel Lee hit him one time in sparring? Was that like a lucky shot, or were they boxing? And since Daniel Lee had actually more experience in boxing than Bruce Lee, he was able to hit him. I don't know, right? Michael, again, or 100% of your level. Yeah, you know what? This we really got to do this talking instead of me reading what you guys are writing. Uh, you'll never know if you have reached what he considered the level, because yeah, see, okay, so Mark Black, see, this is what I'm talking about. See, Mark says you will never know if you have reached what he considered. See, because everybody's thinking in terms of what would Bruce Lee have thought of your ability, of your level, and that's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about your individual um, output, not about comparing yourself to Bruce Lee, or, well, would Bruce Lee have approved of whatever, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about at all. That could be a conversation, right? I mean, it'd be a completely fantastical conversation, because we'd have to talk about, oh, what if Bruce Lee was still alive and he was watching us training, would he approve and whatever. So now we got to be thinking, now we got to be imagining and fantasizing about what Bruce Lee would have thought about our level. I mean, I guess that could be a conversation, but this idea that we can't be 100% Jeet Kune because we don't know if we would have reached the level that Bruce Lee would have considered the level. That doesn't. I don't know that that's that important, because reality is reality and he's not here. But that shouldn't stop us from moving ahead at 100%. That's what I'm saying. Bucky says he didn't create it. Okay, Alex Huisman says, even if Bruce was unique in his day, there were 3 billion people alive back then. There have been 3 times since that. Just by numbers alone, there should be at least 2 others like him out there. I'll tell you this. I know that Sifu Asano once said that Benny Urquidez could probably have given Bruce Lee a hard time, just based on sheer tenacity and willpower and what have you, right? So yeah. So yeah, okay. Well, see, okay, no one will ever surpass his level. How is that possible? That, Michael, that's the same as like saying that um that's no one will ever surpass his level. So in spite of 50 years of technology and what have you, nobody is as powerful as Bruce Lee. Nobody is as fast as Bruce Lee. Nobody has superb timing. Nobody has superb reaction speed or what have you. Bruce Lee is still the number one, um, if he ever was the number one. I I think realistically, what Alex says about the billions of people out there, right? Just by sheer numbers, there's got to be at least two other people. So this idea that nobody could surpass, we could only possibly reach the same level but never surpass him, since we'll never know what level he could have reached had he lived. Again, all the fantasizing about what Bruce Lee might have done, what Bruce Lee could have done, and what have you. That's not it. That's not it. I mean, I know Michael Perez is not a cult worshiper or anything, but we got to be careful with these kinds of statements. I think, Michael, um, we could only possibly reach the same level of Bruce Lee, but we could never surpass him. No, man, no. I think having lived on, people could get faster than Bruce Lee was. There is no way that you are going to convince me that Bruce Lee was the number one fastest person to ever throw a punch or ever throw a kick. That nobody else could ever throw a punch or a kick faster than him. That ain't so. That ain't likely. Now, maybe we don't know who they are because they never became a prematurely deceased film superstar, but just the logic of it, I think, right? All right. Jerry says Zoom sounds cool. Okay, good. All right. So we will rehash all this. So I'm gonna stay on with you guys for like another 5 minutes or so. Um, so to understand 100%, Steve says there would have to exist a model of excellence to refer to. So to understand 100%, there would have to exist a model of excellence to refer to. Hmm. Yeah. See, it's something that I hate the fact that there's no intonation or context when you read a statement on the internet. So to understand 100%, there would have to exist a model of excellence to refer to. Well, there is a model of excellence to refer to. I mean, I think that's why Michael says what he says. Bruce Lee is the standard. That's the gold standard as such, right? And so um, it's like I tell people when I throw a sidekick, I try to channel Bruce Lee and do my best Bruce Lee impersonation when I throw a sidekick. Um, but because he is the role model. But then the idea that since he's the role model, you can't surpass. Do you think that in the history of physicality, there's never been anybody who didn't surpass his or her role model, that didn't do a better job, that didn't become even more recognized than his or her role model? I watched Pele, Birth of a Legend, the other day, because I did not know. Did you guys know about the whole Jenga style football down in Brazil, and that it was frowned upon? I had no idea about any of that stuff, but my good friend Joseph Powell, he turned me on to it, and so I broke my own rule and stayed up late the other night watching Birth of a Legend. Um, so now, are you telling me that there are no footballers, let's say like Messi or um, Ronaldo or whoever those guys are, or even in tennis, right? You want to tell me that there are no current football players or tennis players who have not surpassed the people that were their role models, the people that were um, the models of excellence to whom they referred? I'm fairly sure they are inspired, motivated, modeling themselves off this excellent level. But if we were to measure and um, quantify and qualify and what have you, we might see that somebody like Messi has surpassed Pele or what have you. I don't know. I could be wrong. I just think that it's the real question is, would Bruce Lee have been happy with where Jun Fan Jeet Kune Do is now? Um, Closest to this is Time with Guru Dan in LA. Um, would Mark again? The real question is, would Bruce Lee see that is taken and putting into the present something that you have to be imagining about in the past? That's not the real question, because we're not here to spend time imagine it wondering, oh, would Bruce Lee be happy? We don't know what was on Bruce Lee's mind. So why devote time trying to imagine? That's just gonna be like circular talk or circular logic or what have you. That's not it. That's not the real question at all. That's not the real question. The real question is, one of the real questions is, are you studying to get to a high level of understanding and then being able to put into physical expression your intellectual understanding? See, this idea, would Bruce Lee have been happy? I don't want to seem again sacrilegious or even insulting or what have you, but I don't particularly care to expend mental energy trying to imagine what Bruce. I never met him. I don't know him. I'm so no, no, that's not the real question. I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree with you on that one, Mark. Now I agree with you that spending time with Sifu and Asano, right, is well, spending time with Dan and Asano. I don't even. I mean, look, I'll spend time with Dan and Asano, and I'll talk about T-shirt design, right? Right, and I'll have a great time having that conversation with him. I don't know that the best use of 60 minutes with Dan and Asano would be, oh, Sifu Dan, what do you how happy do you think Sijo Bruce would be with GK? I don't know. I mean, that could come into play, but I don't know if that's the best time, right? At the highest level you can match it. It's hard to reach into Stater, but it feels fantastic. Um, that was about certain moves and combos. Okay, all right. I think that at the time period he was alive, Bruce was way ahead of everyone. Again, with the at the time period, how can you say that he was way ahead of everyone, Mark? How can you say that? You don't know who everyone else was. So you can't say that. You only know about Bruce Lee because, like me, you're a Bruce Lee fanatic. So you know how good Bruce Lee was. But to say that he was way ahead of everyone who? There is 3 billion people in the world. So you can't say he was way ahead of everyone. Look, it's like this. It's like even when people inaccurately say that Bruce Lee was the first to mix the styles, that ain't true. That ain't true. It's not true in two ways. First, he wasn't mixing styles, but secondly, there were people who had mixed styles. The Kajukembo people had that idea. Now, when you talk about Bruce Lee was, let's say, for example, because this is another one, that Bruce Lee was the first to use protective gear for full contact sparring. That is not true either, because in the 1930s, that there was the oh shoot, um, I want to say Buji group in I'm probably mispronouncing that, but there was a group in Okinawa that had already fashioned bamboo protective gear so that they could go full contact on each other. So while I understand the intent behind a statement like Bruce was way ahead of everyone, I don't agree with the accuracy of it. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. It's like if somebody said to me, "Well, who is your favorite martial artist of all time?" My answer is Bruce Lee. But that is a subjective answer because they asked me who is my favorite martial artist of all time. That's not the same as saying Bruce Lee as a martial artist was way ahead of everyone because I don't know that. So I don't say that. But if you ask me who is my favorite martial artist of all time, it's Bruce Lee. Now, if you ask me who's my favorite martial arts actor of all time, I might not say that. If you ask me what's my favorite martial art movie of all time, I might not say, well, in all honesty, I want me to tell you, if you ask me what is my favorite martial art movie of all time, it is not Enter the Dragon. It's not even a Bruce Lee movie. It is Jackie Chan's Snake and Crane Arts of Shaolin. And it's for one reason. It's for the bloody opening credits. What he does in the opening credits. As a physical specimen, Jackie Chan pulls off stuff that I don't think Bruce Lee was anywhere near to. But that has nothing to do with, oh, are you saying, Dwight, that Jackie Chan could beat Bruce Lee in a fight? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, in my opinion, what Jackie Chan does in the opening credits, if you've never seen it, you need to treat yourself to it. What he does, the stuff with the spear, and then the stuff with the tonfa and the broadsword against the 2 or 3 spear guys, immaculately choreographed, right? So that's another thing. If somebody says, okay, well, was Bruce Lee the best martial arts choreographer? I'd have to give it context, right? Yes, I enjoy all the Bruce Lee fights, but man, there is some stuff in Snake and Crane Arts of Shaolin, or even in Drunken Master, or what have you, that when it comes to choreography. Anyhow, we're getting off the point, right? Okay, so only Bruce could do certain things. Did Bruce stop using trapping? Did anyone catch up while alive? Mark, I don't understand this. All right. Bruce is 32 when he died. Had he lived, he would have continued to learn and improve. So to say no one could ever match him is silly. Right, exactly. He was a man, not a god. Extraordinary, but still just a man. Thank you, Bo Jackson. Well said. Right? But Bruce is the point of origin, so always a comparison. You can be 100% Jeet Kune in your own journey. Agreed. Okay. Wait. But Bruce is the point of origin, so always a comparison. All right. Okay. We know from him describing the level and experience. Okay. The jet. Yes. Right. Steve. I think Steve is referring back to Benny Urquidez. Right. Mark Black says the closest at that time, in my opinion. Bucky Barreto says power level. If anybody was stronger and could hit harder than Bruce Lee, yeah, there were definitely people who could hit harder than Bruce Lee. I mean, yeah, we know that Bruce Lee, they say, had the power level of a heavyweight, even though he was 132 pounds, right? Yeah, but that means then that there were heavyweights who could hit as hard as that he could hit as hard as some other people. Aubrey says nobody remains at number one. It just doesn't happen, right? Bill Matucci says, agree, others could be right. Yes. Tommy Carruthers was pretty fast. Yeah, but Tommy Carruthers wasn't pretty fast in 1973, Steve, because he was what, 12 years old or something, right? Mark Black says the live chat would be cool. Michael says, no, not a cult worshiper, but realistically, who do we know of who has put his level of it into their training? Okay, realistically, who do we know of? I am going to tell you this. I am fairly sure, right? I am fairly sure that Masutatsu Oyama and top people of his, like Katsuaki Sato, and then again the aforementioned Benny the Jet Urquidez, I am pretty sure that those people could match Bruce Lee in level of intensity in their training. Yep, yep, I am pretty sure. Right? There may be people out there, Michael says, who have, but we don't know them. Right, exactly. Okay, we don't know them. No, 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 no. It's not that they haven't been discovered, Mike. I'll disagree with you on that. They haven't been uncovered or discovered by us, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist, right? So yeah, there's tons of people. There's tons of people who know about Oyama. There's tons of people who know about. Man, look, Bill Matucci could probably tell us about a whole bunch of Chinese martial artists that are famous as hell, but we don't happen to know about them. But if you go to parts of the world, right, you'll find out that you think, right? Okay, okay. The real Wong Fei Hung, okay? The real Wong Fei Hung. Don't you think that, is it fair to say that he hasn't been discovered, right? Because, oh man, we got to do this live, right? Albert Kwan says GSP is the model of excellence. Like I'm supposed to know who GSP is, Albert Kwan. There are people that are fast with one technique, but not good on combination speed. Okay. All right. Alex Huisman says Carruthers made him think that he was fast, that there are people faster than him. But then I heard he speeds up his videos. Alex, you're terrible. That's funny. Right. Okay. Terry Valor. I waited long enough for you to jump in. So Terry said, okay, wait, let me see again. I can't read. I can't, no, I can't read. I can't read it there. JKD is personal expression. So working hard on yourself is the only way of achieving 100% and therefore improving on what Bruce Lee started. Okay. Yeah. Right. Oh, Steve is doing word play. I look at Mayweather because for me, he has a great shoulder roll. As a great shoulder roll, as a great shoulder role model. Right? Sifu Paul Vunak. Mark, my scrolling is minutes behind you. So tell me what you mean about Sifu Paul Vunak, right? Golden time. This type of conversation that people gave Michael Jai White lip about. The reality is someone bigger, stronger, faster could beat Bruce Lee. Could he gotten even great had he maybe if he go first? But then I think there's a lot of martial artists that are better than Bruce, right? I mean, again, why are we having this conversation about Bruce Lee and not somebody else? Well, because a lot of us are fans and followers of Bruce Lee and Jeet Kune, so that's why we're involved in this conversation. Uh, Added to that is the fact that he belongs to that um, young 30s club of people who passed away. I guarantee you that there are people who have these kinds of discussions about Wing Chun personalities. There are people who have these kinds of discussions about um, maybe even Oyama karate, right? Because that's their thing, and they're as passionate about their thing as we are about our thing, So there are probably conversations, and they might be aware of people who they go, oh, well, I've seen how fast Bruce Lee was on camera and what have you, but I've seen other people who, although from what Alex is saying, you never know if you see stuff today because these people might be speeding up their videos. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny, right? T-shirt design is a good idea. Dan often speaks about Bruce. Hypothetical. I mean, way ahead of the people around him. Um, well, way ahead of the people around him. Bruce Lee might have been way ahead of the people around him in his circle, but was he way ahead of the people around him outside of his circle? So, in other words, was Bruce Lee way ahead of Hayward Nishioka in judo circles? Was Bruce Lee way ahead of Dan Inosanto in Filipino martial arts circles? You see, again, this whole thing about Bruce Lee being way ahead of people, right? It all has to be qualified, I think, so that we don't appear to be ascribing superhuman qualities. You know, there's actually a YouTube video. I think the title of it is 10 Reasons Why Bruce Lee Was Superhuman or something. That actually does exist, right? Um, Okinawans were using it, Aubrey says. Now I know that's a reference to the protective gear. I didn't like MJW saying it either, but yeah, he got like 50 pounds on Bruce, right? Okay. Chinese martial artists have been mixing styles for hundreds of years, right? Aubrey says he used, right? Snake and Crane, a great movie. Jackie Chan is a guru artist. Like, I'm 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop then. Alex says I'm 15 minutes behind on the comments, so this is not working out. So all of you guys who are on here, thank you for spending some Friday evening time with me. So you are aware. I got to work out now how to make. I think I can. Yeah. No. I'm pretty sure I can just make the link to Zoom public, right? Just publish it and then um, let in as many people as show up. 200 people are not going to show up because we're all going live. But yeah, okay, all right, okay. So let's put an end to this here. So 2 Fridays from now, on the 27th, let's we'll probably have other things to talk about by then. So next Friday, if everything works out, Mahipal Lunia will be on, and this is going to be a unique conversation. It's going to be a conversation like what I have not had before in the martial art world, right? So I encourage you guys to show up for that one. Over the next 3 days or so, this project should be it'll never be completed, but it should be finished, right? And so I should be back on schedule with broadcasts on Wednesdays again and dialogues on Fridays as of next week, right? Okay. So until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, signing off. Again, thank you very much for showing up and spending time with me. And I hope to see you guys next week, and then when we do the Zoom call. All right, you guys take care. Talk soon.